Hi, I'm Sullivan. You might know me as the dipshit who deleted all of his footage. Well, actually, found out that it was stored very far away in my Google Drive. It was not sorted correctly, so I had no idea where it was, but I have found it, and I now present to you the original form of what this video was supposed to be, also known as the recovered edition. Thank you.
No one told you life was gonna be this way. Your job's a joke, you broke, your love life's the old way. It's like you're always stuck in second gear. When it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year. But I'll be there for you when the rain starts to pour. I'll be there for you like I've been there before. I'll be there for you 'cause I'm there for you too.
So now we're going to be talking about the episode Justice. This episode is very uncomfortable to watch with parents. The reason being, there's a bunch of half-naked people the entirety of the episode. Now, anyways, let's continue talking about this. It starts off with three of the main bridge members, I'm pretty sure Troy, Worf, and Riker, beaming down, along with Wesley for some reason. I think Picard was just like, this domestic terrorist needs to get laid. So it's fun. But then all of a sudden, angry balls appear in the bridge. Don't ask me why I wrote down angry balls, because they are angry at the crew the whole time. Picard is confused about it, and he's like, why are these angry balls here? But all of a sudden, Data, gets attacked by one, and then he passes out for, the majority of the fucking episode. So back on the planet, there is unsentient balls just being played with, There's also half-naked cartwheels happening constantly. We can just, skip over a lot of this until Wesley's playing, soccer or something with some of the kids on there. I don't think it's soccer, but it's a game where you kick a ball around. So, one more point to balls in this episode. I'd like to say that this episode also started the era of me having to write down different types of balls to make jokes about them the entire time. But he breaks a plant thing, and then the children he was playing with were like, "Oh no, you're gonna get executed now because you broke a law." And then somebody almost kills him, and then Riker comes and kicks that guy's ass, and then Picard has to beam down, and he's like, hey, fair trial first before it gets executed. Not even trying to make a situation where he in fact doesn't even have the choice of being executed. I guess he still wants to at least give Wesley a fair trial before letting him die. But it's fun. Then, after that, for some reason he beams up one of the people to the Enterprise. It's really a short-lived scene because the angry ball ship is just like, hey, you put her back down there. You put her back down there. And then they go back down there. And then they're just like, no, he's not gonna get executed because he broke something. He's not gonna get executed because of that. So then they try to beam up. They can't. They do something about the angry ball gods, and then they're just like, okay, we'll let you go back up to your ship now, and that's the end of that episode. Um, Picard is the MVP, but I'd also like to give an honorable mention to Riker for kicking that guy's ass with the lethal injection needle that he was just for some reason carrying. I found out that half of my video didn't actually record, so I'm gonna do a quick rundown of the episodes that didn't actually get recorded, even though I saw it being recorded. Anyways, Haven, Riker's having a special moment. Metalface appears off of a briefcase that they find on the transporter room. The Metalface starts talking and then spews out jewels everywhere, and then Troy finds out that she's getting an arranged marriage. The guy that she's getting a arranged marriage with is actually interested in another girl that he's never actually seen before. Then they kiss for way too long. They see the most 80s ship of all time with a ball chair in the bridge, and then they have more of a kiss, which I also don't like. The guy who is getting an arranged marriage with Troy becomes a messiah on accident, and Troy is the MVP. Big goodbye. Picard is in a holodeck pretending to be a private investigator. The holodeck is basically just a high dungeon. I know none of you have played that before who are watching me. Picard is having a special moment like everyone does in the holodeck. Picard needs to recite something with 0 mistakes because, that's just how a diplomatic meeting works. That's... Picard, Data, and Crusher and Generic Guy get stuck in the holodeck. We never learn who Generic Guy's name is, I think. Sexism, toots, that's what the sexism is there. Holodeck talks about, I don't know what that's about. Generic Guy gets shot after they get kidnapped. Holodeck is unlocked and Generic Guy is brought to sickbay. Picard recites it correctly. Geordi, Wesley, and unnamed engineering officer 1 and 2 are MVPs. Data lore. Data's practicing how to sneeze. Data's homeworld is desolate. Data finds parts of his brother. Data's brother and him both have Ken doll crotches, which begs the question: how did Data Tasha? But long story. Lore is designed to please humans. Let's just again, Ken doll crotches. Lore hates Data, but again. Wouldn't be surprised if you're a Star Trek watcher. Data somehow got poisoned. The weird crystal from the drawings that they found at the laboratory is following them. No one believes Wesley, like normally. Well, Picard doesn't apologize when they find out that's true after Wesley beams Lore into space. And Data and Wesley are the MVPs. Angel 1, they're searching for survivors from a freighter crash. They come across Angel 1. They're just like, hey, can we search there? Yeah, you both find them, but sure. People are sick on the Enterprise all of a sudden because Wesley somehow throws a holodeck snowball at Picard outside of the holodeck. Riker and the president of Angel 1, sorry, I can't say that because it's classified information. Just quarantine Blaze. Troy, Tasha, Riker, and Data and Beverly are MVPs, but I'd also like to give a mention to no one else. The episode with the binary, I'm not even going to try to recite that again. Binars, Dr. Epstein. The Enterprise is going to blow up twice in a row. Well, not in a row, but the Enterprise was about to blow up 2 different times in this episode. Picard and Riker are the MPs, but Geordi and Data should get an honorable mention because they helped find out that maybe you should do this together at the same exact time. Too short a season. Old guy who got beamed on to the ship so he could do a diplomatic meeting that turns into terrorist negotiation. starts hurting, and then he starts walking, and then he gets younger, and then Picard does another speech, and then old guy is now taking control and is now young old guy, and then the terrorist is like, you're not old guy, show me your scar. And apparently prosthetics don't exist, so he just takes it at face value. Young old guy has falsified records in the past, and Picard and old guy are B, even though the old guy almost got all the bridge crew killed. When the bow breaks, something is detected in the scanners. And Landis planet, that's the thing that happens. It's a real planet. Kids, all the kids, which are like 10 kids, got kidnapped. I don't know. The ship gets pushed so far back that at max warp it will take 3 days for them to go back. And then Wesley gets all of them to protest. All the kids, somehow. Picard and Wesley are the MVPs. Home soil. Drill laser starts to kill people. And then they find life, as in like a light ball that is life. I skipped over Hyde and Q. Okay, I'll tell you Hyde and Q real quick. Hyde and Q has Q ball in it, and then stuff happens, and then Riker gets powers, and then done. Anyways, they found life. No one is the MVP because nothing really happened in this one. Coming of age, investigating Picard. Matte painting. I don't know where that is. Prelude to Conspiracy, which is my favorite episode in this entire thing. Never mind. Nope. Okay, all main crew is very good at doing this. Is MVPs in this episode because they helped Guard not get fired for doing nothing. Heart of Glory. Geordi's visor is very disorienting to look into, but I mean that makes sense. It doesn't make sense. You know what? Never mind. There's 3 different Klingons. One of them dies. They scream because of him dying, and then we find out the 2 remaining Klingons are bad. Then one of them gets shot, and the other one goes to the warp core and points a phaser at it, and then Worf is just like, "Don't shoot the warp core." It's like, "You've gone soft, haven't you?" And then Worf shoots him, and then he dies, and then Worf screams at his death, even though he threatened the life of everyone he knew. Let's talk about the next episode, because this episode is also a very quick one, and there's only one thing that happens the entire episode that is really of note. It's just like a cookie cutter episode. Anyways, Arsenal of Freedom. The only thing that I wrote down for this, but I'll give you a quick summary. Arsenal of Freedom takes place after they find a distress signal that they later find out to just be advertising a shop. The shop turns out to be absolutely empty, and the Enterprise gets almost destroyed, and the crew on the away team also almost gets destroyed, and then all of a sudden, and then they don't anymore. Anyways, Data throws Tasha headfirst into a goddamn boulder. Yep. Yeah, that's a real thing that happens. Okay, so all of the bridge crew that was still there, Riker, Data, and Tasha, were all the MVPs of that episode. Picard and Beverly were just in a hole for the majority of the episode, and they help a little bit at the end. Here's a quick one. Symbiosis. I don't even remember what this episode was about. No one was the MVP, though. Skin of Evil. Now, this one is a very sad episode. Let's just run down this one. They encounter a weird printer ink monster, and then after a shuttle that Troy's in gets destroyed, and then all of a sudden, and then they get it done, and then they get the ink monster tricked, and then they get Troy out of there, and then that's the end of that episode. So, rip Tasha Yar from whenever she was born to whenever this episode took place in the Star Trek timeline. Commander Riker gets sucked into the printer ink and then stays there for like 10 minutes and then gets out, and it's like, what even happened? All of the bridge crew is MVPs, including Tasha. We'll Always Have Paris is an episode that takes place after a time loop. We'll Always Have Paris is a episode that takes place during a time loop. Whoa, what the? Whoa. Whoa. Oh no. Oh no. Anyways, nothing really happens for most of the episode, and all the main crew, no, Data is the MVP. Now, the best episode of this season, Conspiracy. This episode takes place after the captain gets told from a video call, hey, come to this planet and don't tell anyone why. So then he goes down to that planet and is like, there's some weird stuff going on, man. There's like aliens taking form of other people that I know. And then they later find out that that's true. And they're also using the same prop that they did for the neckworms. For the earworms in The Wrath of Khan, for the neckworms in this episode. But then they get sent down to a conference meeting with the rest of Starfleet, and they're just like, hey, eat these fucking worms. Shove these worms down your throat. Put these in your gullet. But then they get to the main guy who's like, nope, I'm gonna invade all of Starfleet, and they fire their phasers so hard at him that he explodes into giant worms. And then they shoot the giant worm, and then all of the baby worms also die. Riker and Picard are the MVPs of this entire episode. Also, rest in peace to the guy that got killed for this entire episode. Well, shout out to the guy who was Picard's friend who got killed. I don't remember his name. I like the guy from Conspiracy, Star Trek TNG later. Now, that should be the end of the season, right? Well, apparently not. Because for some reason they put in a random episode that I feel like should have been before Conspiracy. The Neutral Zone. This takes place next to the Neutral Zone. Really? I would have had no idea. I would have had no idea. Anyways, they find people in this weird thing, and they find out that they've been in cryostasis so that they could get diseases cured that they didn't have cures for when they were put in cryostasis. But then they find out that one of the people who was in there is a crypto bro. Well, he's not. He's a stocks guy, but it's the same thing. And then they find the Romulans, and they're like, "Whoa!" And the Romulans are like, "We're gonna no, you can't be here." And then the Sox guy is just like, "No, you need to let them be here." And then the Romulans are like, "Okay." And I said, "Oh, this is a terrible episode." And then I wrote down all crew members and Sox guy are MVPs. So before we go, before we end this embark through this first season of TNG, I'd like to give a short montage to the people we have lost along the way. Anyways, that's it. That's the it. I'll see you next time. I think I'm gonna give myself a little bit of a break because I had to deal with the whole uh, debacle of my editing program almost dying because I don't know, just wanted to. I guess thought it would be funny. Um, but now I have to go because I think uh, yeah, it's about time for Picard. Oh, hi, Picard. I wasn't in your chair.